tired. I'm very, very tired right now. Anyway, I just woke up, and honestly, if I screamed, it'd probably give Aaron a headache, so I'm not gonna do that, and it'd probably give me a headache. So I just woke up, and me and Aaron are currently on our way to see Danny Duncan, and he's the only person in this entire universe that I would wake up at 11, or no, sorry, not, yeah, I woke up at 9, I don't know why, I'm literally right now. He's pretty much the only person in the world, I'm pretty sure, that I wake up at 9 o'clock for when, you know, that's not in my sleep patterns. Like, I usually wake up around 12 to like 1. I just had quite the eventful walk because we were waiting in line. We're about like halfway. Been there for like 2 hours. I had to repay for parking for another 2 hours, so I walked back and Aaron saved my spot. On the way back, the person recognized me. We got a picture. Then I kept walking, and then 2 older ladies asked me to help them pick up a chair and put it in their car, and I did. And it was so sweet, and they were so nice. And then they were like, "Oh, do you want any money?" I was like, "No, of course not." And they were like, "Oh, you don't understand how much it means to us." Very nice, actually. I like that. And I forgot my Danny Duncan shirt, so yeah, almost done. Thank you for accompanying us on our journey. We got these guys right here. This guy's gonna be a pro UFC fighter. Oh, my bad, didn't mean to leave you hanging. These guys fucking cut, I'm pretty sure. And then these guys were with us down there. Got it done. We literally sat out in the sun for like 6 hours, but the pictures were sick, so that's dope. Yeah, I mean, it was just a quick little thing. I'm probably gonna add a little workout in this video, a little more vlog or whatever. But yeah, he was really dope. I mean, you could tell he was exhausted. He probably had talked to like 1,000 people at that point because we were like towards the end of the line. And yeah, like he was very exhausted, but he still took the time of his day to talk to me, and I really appreciated it. So yeah, Danny, if you ever see this, let's collab, let's hang out, take you through a workout. All right, today I'm working out with Ethan Fairbanks. He is like another fitness person, you know, he just does the same shit that I do basically. He only has one leg. He went through a lot, like going through his childhood. If we go to his channel, you can kind of see more about it, but I'll have a link to his channel in the description. But yeah, we're just gonna hang out today. I've met him before, he's really chill, so we're just gonna hit chest. Introduce yourself.
I'm Ethan Fairbanks. I'm a cancer survivor. I got a prosthetic leg. Me and Lexx are gonna hit some chest today. It's gonna be my second workout of the day, but we're gonna fucking kill it. I hit a PR today, so I'm not that strong, but hopefully we get a good pump.
I do not have a road mic today, so you probably can't hear me as well. Sorry.
is gone. So I basically just wanted to wrap this segment of the video up with Ethan, just kind of telling you guys like what's up and like how it happened with his leg and kind of how he handled that in his own way. So yeah, you can go ahead.
I'm gonna just start from the beginning. When I was 7 years old, I actually was in like a lot of sports before this, but anyway, 7 years old, I ended up walking home from school. I'd walk home every day. We lived about 2 blocks away from the school at the time, and one day I ended up getting a block in from my house, and my mom would meet me at a block away. So we'd meet halfway, and she actually had to carry me home because I couldn't walk home. Took me to the doctor because I had a bunch of pain, and from there they didn't do any x-rays, they did nothing. They simply passed it off as a sports injury, and they sent me home. So about 2 weeks later, same thing happened. Mom carried me home again, rushed me to the ER. But this time they did x-rays, and they ended up finding out that I had a tumor in my left hip. Well, from there, I ended up getting sent to Iowa City because we lived in a small town in Iowa. And at Iowa City, they ended up saying that it was just a hairline fracture in my left hip with a cyst. And so basically no big deal. They threw me in a full body cast, and I sat in that full body cast for about 3 months. And during that 3 months time period, I was in a lot of pain. My mom would call the doctors like all the time saying something was wrong and that they needed to look at it. They simply just told her there was nothing wrong, I had a low pain tolerance. And 3 months goes by, and they ended up taking my cast off, and they found a tumor on my hip that was like the size of a golf ball, kind of like in between a golf ball and a softball. So it was a really big tumor on the side of my hip. And from that point on, my mom never saw the doctor after that. My parents never saw the doctor. He wouldn't even show his face. He ended up sending his nurse back, and they told them that I had cancer, and that at this point it was way too late. We needed to basically amputate my leg. And since it took them so long to kind of like diagnose me and figure it out, it ended up traveling to my lungs. And from there on, I had like total of 10 plus lung surgeries on both my left and my right side, which is why I kind of have like nerve damage on my lats. But anyway, from there on, I ended up having like several doses of chemotherapy. By the age of I think 19 years old, I had the maximum dose of chemotherapy allowed in a full-grown adult when I was 9, when I was like 9 years old. And from that point on, things were looking pretty bad, and they ended up telling my parents that I had like 2 weeks left to live. So it was pretty bad, and a miracle happened. Chemo kicked in, it ended up killing the tumors, and so I was left with a bunch of dead tumors. They ended up taking those out, and then I was good. I was good until about the age of like 12 years old, and at that point in time, it came back in my right hip. So it came back in my right hip, and from that point on, it was like 2 years later, so they had more treatment options available, and they ended up doing radiation this time. So they did radiation, it killed the tumor in my hip, and but it left my bone super frail, and my bone ended up completely snapping, and I still had that tumor there. It was dead, but it was still there, so they ended up having to take it out, and that's why I got this big scar. I have a full partial hip replacement in my right leg, and from there on, I was good. It was pretty much good from there. I ended up getting into the gym when I was about 14 years old, and I've worked out ever since. I love working out. It helps me kind of like deal with everything. And also, I was really big into sports before, and since I can't play sports now, and I couldn't play sports in high school, lifting was always kind of my outlet, and it was just a really good way to deal with everything I'd been through. And from there on, I've been pretty much good. I had 2 setbacks actually. In a few years ago, I would have been 17. I was a junior in high school. I had a little 3 millimeter nodule in my left lung. They ended up taking that out, and I had a second one in my right lung, I believe. And that one ended up just being scar tissue, but I still had surgery. And from there, I've been good. So everything's great, and now I train every day. I train 6 days a week, and now here I am with Lexx, the man, the myth, the legend.
So I figured I'd kind of give him the spotlight because he honestly fucking deserves it. I've never met somebody that I could just fucking, that's as hardworking as him, like honestly, because just going through all that shit, I had my own rough patches in life, but nothing to that extent. I mean, thankfully nothing was physical. I can imagine the shit that he had to go through, honestly, and like, it's just so fucking inspiring, and I just figured I would, you know, share his story with you guys and just get it to a wider audience, because it just kind of goes to show that whatever you're fucking crying about isn't shit. Unless it's worse, then, you know, just do your best to get through it. But I'm sure the majority of people out there that are going through things, and it doesn't mean that what you're going through is like meaningless. You have to get through it. But I'm just kind of giving you inspiration that, you know, what you're going through, there's people that are going through it worse. And if he can be strong enough to kind of go through all the things that he went through and just sit here looking jacked as fuck and aesthetic, have his own charisma and just be an outgoing, just like operating human being that is just a happy person, you know what I mean, if that fucking makes sense. But like,
Sure,
yeah.
I train legs 3 times a week still, even with my prosthetic and everything. I can't squat or deadlift, but I still train legs.
So you better fucking train legs. If this guy can train legs, why can't you?
Exactly.
But yeah, I just figured I'd share his story because it's honestly, he deserves it, and it's just fucking ridiculous that he can sit here with a smile on his face after going through all that shit and still, you know, maintain that physique and everything like that. So yeah, shout out to my boy. His link will be in the description and everything like that. And yeah, I just figured he deserves it. So
Appreciate it, man.
yeah, no problem.
Good working out with you, bro.
Yeah, no problem. Basically, for me, this will be the first time I'm kind of talking about it, but ever. And I figured I would tell him because we're just talking about the feats that we went through. I've never talked about it, not because I'm uncomfortable talking about it, but just because I've never gotten around and like kind of felt like it was something that should be said. But you know, it's kind of appropriate since he's sharing his story, I could share mine. So when I was younger, when I was literally like 4 to 5 years old, my mom, loved my mom like more than anything in this world. She was dating someone who abused her. He'd fucking like hit her. He pushed her down a flight of stairs. He like smashed a beer bottle over her fucking head, dragged her in the bathroom all bloody. I could hear her screaming. He like got my like sister's boyfriend, like he tried to make him do cocaine. He tried to have sexual intercourse with my like at the time 13, 12-year-old sisters, like friends. Literally just an overall piece of shit. And my mom had to go through all that stuff, and it sucked. Like, you know, he would always, you know, he punched my sister in the face, 12 years old, like, and he was 6'4", like 300 fucking pounds. This guy was fucking massive. He was huge, and my mom's like 5 foot. My sister is very short, and I was only 4 years old. I couldn't do anything, and you know, I saw that shit go down. And eventually, thankfully enough, after all the like the mental problems that happened with my mom, you know, going through all that shit, she eventually left him, and he literally just blew his fucking head off in her room when she turned off the power and the lights in the house. So he literally shot himself, and after a few years go by and that happens, and you know, I didn't know what was going on as much, like I was still a kid, and like, it, you know, yeah, a few years go by and she meets this guy named Steve, and he's a great guy. He's like a second father figure. He loves to ride dirt bikes, like he's just dope. He would bring my family together, like he would bring my sister and me and my mom all together in the same place. He could drink like 1,000 beers, but he'd never get drunk. He was just a dope guy. And she was with him for 2, 3, 4 years, and one day my best friend, like IRL friend Colin, was there with me. We walked outside to go get ice cream. We were like 11 or 12 or 13, somewhere around there. And we just heard like a scream, and he had his friends over. We heard like a yell, and his backyard's like a football field long, but then behind his backyard there's like a bunch of cornfields, and there's like a dirt bike trail, and obviously the corn stalks are very tall, so you can't see what's around you. And his friend had his dune buggy, and Steve had his dirt bike, and they were under the influence, and his friend on the dune buggy came around the corner, and Steve went around the corner, and they couldn't see each other, and they collided, and we heard him yell, and that was the last thing I ever heard of him, because my mom went back there. I refused to go because I was scared, and I just heard my mom yell like, he's gonna die on me just like everyone else. And he actually died like in front of my mom. So like my second father figure kind of literally like died in front of my mom, which is like the best guy she's ever been with pretty much, after going through all of that mental problems with like the other guy when I was very young. This guy literally just dies in front of my mom because he's under the influence, and yeah, shit like that. And there's just a bunch more, but that's basically the gist of like what I kind of had to go through, and I had shit like that when I was younger. So I don't know how I turned out the way I did. I guess I just got lucky, or not lucky, I just had a good mindset. But like, yeah, that's basically what happened with me, and that is the reason I do not smoke or drink. It doesn't correlate to steroid use, like, you know, because nobody ever used steroids. But in terms of like smoking and drinking, I'm natural, but like, I'm just saying like it doesn't influence me to to not or to take steroids or to do or not to do. But like in terms of smoking and drinking, that's the reason I've never smoked or drank, because, you know, one of my father figures died because he was under the influence, and the other would always smoke, and I had asthma when I was younger. My whole family smoked cigarettes. I had very bad asthma. So that's the reason I do not smoke. I don't care if you do smoke or drink. I don't have a problem with it. Just don't blow it in my face or try to influence me to do it, and I'll be fine with it. But yeah, that's the reason I don't smoke or drink, and that's kind of like a little story, because I never talked about it on the channel, and I'm kind of being real right now, and you know, you shared his, I share mine. But yeah, we all go through these problems, and it's important to keep your mindset in a healthy state. You can kind of branch out and find what makes you happy, and you always have to follow that. That's my biggest advice. Like, I would not be as happy and I would not be in the position I am if I didn't find what I loved. And I feel like everyone out there kind of knows what they love, but they're kind of too scared to do it. But I found what I loved, and I kind of went with it, and it made me the person I am today. So yeah, if you're ever going through anything, just know there's people like me, there's people like him. We all go through it at times, but if you just tell yourself to toughen the fuck up, and you make yourself through it, and you really put your head down and grind, and just, you know, commit to something and form a responsibility in your life, and kind of just get to where you want to get, and you work towards that goal, you can take small steps or big steps, you'll eventually become like a better person and a more happy person. So yeah, if you ever have a dream, just follow it. I know it's tough sometimes, but you know, me and my boy Ethan right here, man, you know,
There's always a light in the darkness,
fucking did
bro.
it, man. So
There's
yeah,
always a light in the darkness.
yeah, man, I thought I'd talk, so I'm gonna wrap. Honestly, we're going to wrap that up there. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. A little bit of talk at the end of it. Drop a like, comment if you enjoyed. If you're going through it, just know we all go through it sometimes, and I'm here for you. Love you guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one.